This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm so excited to be speaking with Danielle Pinnock about ghosts. How are you, Danielle?
I am so excited to be here. I really am. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I love this show, and it's really fun to see Alberta throughout it. And I'm curious what you feel has been the best character growth for her over the course of season three.
I have to say for sure, Alberta's vulnerability. When we met her season one, she truly was a hot mess with a heart of gold. She's very brassy and always was just waiting for the applause and just getting on the ghost nerves. But what we've seen is such an incredible evolution in terms of her possibly wanting love again. We see her with this incredible poltergeist in season three, and played by amazingly by Lamorne Morris. And so I'm just really honored to just give life to this character. She has changed my life in every which way. And I can't wait to see more about what happens with her in season four, whether it's like, does she fall in love with Pete? What is the thing that's going to get Alberta? I'm not being vulgar, I promise, but sucked off, ascended into the heavens. And so, yeah, I mean, like all of her relationship with Hetty, this woman has really grown. We find out that in season two that Hetty's son poisoned Alberta. And so the fact that like she's not holding a big grudge about it and they're still friends, it just shows that her willingness to be vulnerable is just has been impacted by Sam and Jay's presence. And so yeah, it's been such a ride.
Well, I do think that while we want Alberta to be happy, we don't want her or any of the other
I
characters to
know.
get sucked off because that means they won't be on the show anymore. So it's a
Yes.
bittersweet rooting for these people to be just happy enough to not have the
That they
eternal
stick
fulfillment they
around.
need.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I love this show so much. I think this is by far our best season yet. We are taking huge departures from what we normally see in broadcast comedies, and I am just keeping my fingers and toes crossed. My cast hates when I say this, but we are waiting in the wings for our award nominations this season. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it happens because I feel like this show, this cast, these writers, our producers, and everyone involved really does deserve that kind of recognition. And so, whenever it is our time, it will happen. I think timing is definitely everything. But yeah, we're just waiting in the wings. We're waiting.
No, and there's a lot to talk about. You mentioned Lamorne, and I think that Saul, that's a really fun character. And another thing where we would have liked to see it go past one episode, but also like it was pretty clear that it was just that subtle shift where it's like,
And
oh, he's so charming, he's around. But I think what I enjoyed most is the need to get Sam and especially an unhappy Jay out of their own bedroom so they could have privacy.
oh my gosh, when I tell you, first of all, working with Lamorne and Jeffrey during that week was during the first week of Black History Month. And so I feel like I really got my powers on that week. And I was so nervous to work with both of them because Jeffrey Owens, I mean, I've been watching since I was a kid, and also Lamorne on New Girl. And so, but I have to say that it was so just incredible working with both of them. I got to play in a way that I normally don't get to play because with the ghosts, we're all family at this point. We know each other, we know how we work, how we tick. And so to have a new face on set was just fabulous. And he was truly such a gift to work with, has such a great imagination and is an improv master. And so getting to play with Lamorne in that way was, I mean, it felt like I was in a little kid in a sandbox. You know what I mean? We got to try so many different things, and working with Rose and Ukarsh and kind of having that big A storyline. I wanted to make sure that I did my best. I wanted to make sure that like, I feel like anytime the ghosts have big storylines, it's like we're re-auditioning in a way to be like, keep us on, we can do this. And for me, it was just really important for the network to see for me that I'm not just, a good actor that can do punchlines. You know what I mean? Like I'm a trained actor who went to graduate school for the craft and have 20 years behind me in on stages and some great TV shows and films. And so I just wanted to kind of, it felt like an audition to be like, okay, for season 4, I'm ready for more if you throw it at me. And I feel like I was successful in that feat. And so I'm so grateful that I got to do that with Lamorne, who is such a master of comedy, because he just allowed both of us to shine in a beautiful way.
We haven't really seen this yet, but I feel like it's the kind of show where there could be like a horror episode that's
Oh my
actually,
gosh. Oh
especially like
yeah.
looking into, Alberta's murder, that could be legitimately scary. And then we'll just get some hint that it's still a comedy. But do you think that's something that might happen eventually, or is it
Well,
really
the
going to lean
thing
more
is,
towards
our
the comedy?
season finale, we find out that there is a Puritan ghost named Patience that lives in the dirt. And at the end of the season, she kind of snatches Isaac, played geniusly by Brandon Scott Jones. And so I'm like, it could get a little Blair Witchy. You know what I mean? It could get a little scary. And I'm really excited that that is how season 4 will start. It's kind of figuring out who is Patience, and also I can't wait to see who they end up casting. I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about. I'm kind of rooting for Darcy Carden. I just think she is everything and more. But also like my secret is also Kristen Wiig. I think Kristen Wiig would be hilarious. But it's so many different directions that character can go in, and so I can't wait to meet and introduce that new ghost.
And it's also like the traditional season, like classic season finale thing of like, we're
Yes,
not going to show you
exactly.
who it is. And I like that you still don't know because it's like, it really
You
could
have
be
no
anything.
idea. And also, like, how are we going to get Isaac out of the dirt? You know, I just, it's going to be just so, I think it just lends itself to so much more comedy, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait.
Well, I had a nice conversation with Richie Moriarty, and I don't feel quite as bad because he seems happy enough to be part of the ensemble. But I feel
Yes.
really bad for Pete. Everybody's so mean to him. And even though Alberta is not necessarily as cool, I wish he could have a win every single episode because everyone else seems to get one.
Me too. I definitely feel like Pete for 3 seasons has been a doormat. But the other thing about Pete that I think is really fascinating is I have to say, I think he has the best ghost power. He can actually leave the property. And so that lends itself to so many more misadventures for season 4, and also potential love interests for Pete. My goal for Pete, I have to say, I think he deserves a hoe phase. I definitely feel like Pete deserves to be out here with the lady ghost doing his things. He's been so faithful to his wife, even in death. And we find out that Carol, his wife, is absolute trash. And so now it is time for Pete to be out there and just, sow some dead people oats, you know? And so I just can't wait for all of the things that will ensue with his character. And also in regards to Alberta, like, are they going to end up getting together? What does that mean for Alberta? I feel like Alberta has been hesitant to get together with Pete because, when if they do break up, they're living with each other forever, and who wants to live with an ex? We've seen how that's worked with Pete and Carol, right? And so I think she is a little hesitant. He is a nice guy, which is not normally, who she would go for. But I'm excited to see her take a chance. And who better to do that with Pete? And Richard Moriarty, I mean, working with him has always been a dream, and so anytime we have scenes together, it's just such a laugh. And so I can't wait to see what happens.
The other person, I know, always fun to see everybody interact, but I especially enjoyed seeing your scenes with Devin as Thor
Oh my
in this
gosh.
season. Just the way these two characters are such strong, loud
Yeah,
personalities and get
these are
to rub
alphas.
each other the wrong way.
I for sure, Alberta is the alpha, and so is Thorfinn, and I think they just butt heads all the time. And the fact that Thorfinn has talked so much smack about Alberta's hat every single episode, I'm like, this is now trending on Twitter where people are like, oh my God, her hat may be ugly. And so I asked the showrunners for season 4, I was like, is it possible to do an origin story about how Alberta got this hat in the first place? Like, I would love to do a flashback to see like how this ended up being the outfit that she ended up dying in. And so they're like, oh my God, that is so funny. And so I don't know if you know this, but during my audition for Ghost, I wore a red hat. And in my screen test, they asked me to remove the hat. And I was so nervous that I would lose the role because of it. And thank goodness the character now has a hat. They're like, actually, we kind of like the hat. We think it adds a little flair to her. And so I think that costume piece has become such a huge part of Alberta's character and who she is. And so it'd be great to get like a little bit of an origin story. But who knows what happens with Alberta and Thorfinn? I feel like they are siblings through and through. Like Devin in real life is my long lost brother. I love him so much. And we get on each other's nerves all the time. Like we're always like jokingly joke. Do we have so many yo mama jokes with each other? And like that is like my boo. Like me, that is my booski. And so I think it's kind of like a little less toxic than Alberta and Thorfinn's relationship. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they get, what happens for them next season too.
Who are you hoping to share more scenes with in season 4?
Oh my gosh, I have to say Sasapis, I never really get a lot of scenes with. I love when Sasapis and Alberta are able to be shady and when they're like just kind of sitting at the edge and watching all the foolishness unfold. I love that. I would love more of that. I also have to say that I normally don't have many scenes with Trevor. And so I don't know what those scenes would be. I know that Alberta has learned a lot of Yiddish, as we've seen in these last kind of 2 years. And so I've also pitched that Alberta has a bat mitzvah and that she goes to Hebrew school with Trevor. So we'll see. It's a pitch. We don't know what's going to happen. But I'm like, we got to put this Yiddish to use, right? And so, yeah, any combination that we get in, like Rebecca Wasaki, who plays Hetty, always says that we need to find the musicality of a scene. And I feel like finally in season 3, not only have we found the music, we're finally singing our song, right? And depending on whatever combination, whether it's me and Flower or me and Sasapis or me and Sam, it's a different lyric but the same song, right? And so that's the beauty of this show, is that we really have found our stride, and it's a show that I'm very proud of and so grateful to our fans that they're watching and they're supporting us, and that we do get the opportunity and the gift of having a season 4, because this climate right now, things are getting canceled so much. And so I have like I know I keep saying this, but I am so grateful for this production because it allows us to do the thing that we love and that we've wanted to do for so long.
Well, here at Awards Buzz, we definitely love Ghosts and want to make sure it gets lots of nominations. But I'm also curious, is there something else, another performance or show that you've been watching, maybe something that was canceled that you think is particularly awards worthy?
I just started watching for the first time The Fall of the House of Usher. And I had the honor of giving Mary McDonnell an award at the Gracie Awards. And I was like, I need to watch this show because my very dear friend is like a huge fan of the series. And I was like, I need to watch this. I love Edgar Allan Poe. Let me see what's going on. I think that show is so brilliant. And I I'm not all the way finished with it yet, but what I've seen so far, I'm like, this is genius, and it should have won more awards because the acting in it is sublime. Um, Other shows that I'm rooting for, everyone. The thing that I'm mostly rooting for is for more actors to work post strike. That's really what I'm rooting for, because the strike has put such a it has the industry right now in such disarray, and I have so many friends that are right now currently out of work. And my prayer, in addition to award season, but my prayer is that my friends can work. That's really it. And I'm praying that some of them can come and guest star on Ghosts. You know what I mean? And so that's really kind of what's most important to me right now, is just making sure that the people that I love and actors in general that may be struggling right now during this time, that they have opportunities where they can get cast on projects and be able to feed their families. That's really kind of that's the award season for me. Ghosts, it will happen in due time. But yeah, that's really what I want. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's a wonderful sentiment. Thank you so much, Danielle. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you always for supporting growth. Like it means the world to all of us, truly. And I just love y'all. So thank you.